Look, the Tories have claimed for, well, ever since this election campaign began, which, to be honest, has been ever since the last election finished, that their focus on reducing the deficit, which, by the way, I would argue that they failed to do, their focus on reducing the deficit has been the one and only way to bring Britain out of the economic crisis and to turbo boost it past the other European economies. First of all, the Tories have only reduced the deficit as a percentage of GDP and failed at reducing the deficit in general terms.
But growth is higher than here in France.
Granted, but it's only... Granted, but British workers have never been so unproductive. They're working for less and they're working for longer. The growth has mainly been through low-wage jobs. The reality is young people are hit. Tuition fees have gone up by 3 times. The NHS, the National Health Service, has been hit hard. And Tory cuts more generally have meant that Britain has become a far more unequal society, which I think is perhaps the big issue for the average Briton coming up to this election.
Jeremy, the argument made that you take away the southeast of England and the recovery in Britain doesn't look so rosy.
Well, of course, if you take away large blocks of the country, it'll make a big difference to the overall picture. It's certainly true that today the southeast makes a very big contribution to the rest of the country, and we hope that the new rail system will help to spread that around a bit more. But one could make a very brief sort of Japanese haiku poem, which would go something like, growth up, employment up, spending power up, deficit down. Now that, I think, speaks for itself. But if we want to look at this in the broader context, we've seen that, OK, maybe the SNP are a threat to Labour, maybe UKIP are a threat to the Conservatives, although I think we're all a threat to each other. What's happening on the one side is we're talking about UK devolution, Scotland as a separate country. With UKIP, we're talking about the relationship to this supranational body, which is the European Union. Those are the big questions that are breaking up the traditional two-party system.
And those questions that we're going to pick up on when we come back. Stay with us. You're watching the France 24 debate.